Greetings, audiophiles and Mass Effect fans. Welcome to my reading of my fanfiction, After the Fall. This is a Mass Effect fanfiction, and as such, most of the characters and the universe belong to BioWare/EA Games. No copyright infringement is intended. However, the scenario and occurrences within this fanfiction are my intellectual property, so if you decide you want to share this with someone, credit me. Please. Part 16. Signal. Let's head to my quarters, Commander, Kaidan offered. Shepard nodded. I'll be back soon, she assured Garrus. Don't feel the need to wait up. She could see her Turian mate was worn out as she was. He nodded and walked with Tali towards the lift. Shepard followed Kaidan to his small quarters on the crew deck. She had insisted he have his own room, though for some of the time he had been barracked with the rest of the crew. Once inside, he tossed off his jacket and gestured for her to have a seat on his small couch. Shepard sighed. Kaidan, I think I know what this is about. You do? He asked, eyebrow raised. Yes, you're upset because you can't go on the missions with us that have the threat of indoctrination. She watched him as he pulled a clean shirt out of a drawer and stripped off his sweaty underarmor. She caught herself admiring his lean, muscular form. She smiled to herself. After all, she was engaged, not dead. He slipped on a fresh t-shirt, turning to face her with an expectant look, as if urging her to continue speaking. Maybe you also worry that you've already been indoctrinated, or at least begun the process due to the contact we've already had with the Reapers. He pursed his lips, walking across the room, arms folded. She crossed her legs, leaning back. Am I wrong? Well, yes and no. Kaidan went to his bathroom and emerged with a bottle of pills. He shook the bottle towards her. Painkillers? Need any? No, my legs have been all right, Shepard answered. She leaned forward with concern. Migraine? Nah. He waved her off, then popped 2 orange pills into his mouth, swallowing without water. Just a headache, to be expected. The old L2 just isn't up for the work I put it through sometimes. He tapped the side of his head with his palm, smiling crookedly. Then he sat down beside her on the couch. So why did you want to talk to me? Shepard asked. In answer, he leaned his shoulder against hers, his weight familiar, a burden she bore willingly. She felt his trust, a trust that she had had to re-earn after the affair with Cerberus. This felt like old times. Well, old times without the sex. You've spent time with Tali, Garrus, of course, heck, even Kirahi, now that you're back on your feet. But have you and I had time for a reality check since we found you? Since you found me, she said, recalling who it was who carried her broken body from the rubble on the Citadel. Right. To be honest, I was getting jealous. We used to be pretty close, Shepard. And no, I'm not just talking about the physical stuff. He sat back up, looking her in the eye, his expression firm. I understand that you're with Garrus now. I want you to know that. I'm not flirting with you here. Garrus is the only person I would be all right losing you to. Mostly because he could break me in half. He chuckled. But seriously, this... He gestured between the two of them. This is us, being friends again. Do you remember the Kaidan I first met? Shepard's mouth quirked into a smile. The one who was nervous about even talking to his commanding officer about anything but a mission briefing? Hey, I'm a Spectre now, too. We're on even footing. He leaned back against her shoulder. True, if Spectres are more than a title these days, she laughed. With the old Council dead, I don't know if my Spectre status counts for anything but a conversation piece. True. You want anything to drink? Sure. Alright, watch this. Kaidan sat up. The best biotics can target tiny portions of a brain, burst a single blood vessel in an enemy. I'm not that good, but... His face took on a look of concentration, focused on the mini-fridge across the room. Shepard watched as electric blue light wrapped around Kaidan, then the handle of the fridge. It flickered, failed a few times, then the door popped open. Very nice, Shepard said, clapping. I'm not done. Kaidan gave her a cocky smile. He held out a hand, palm up, and twitched his fingertips. A tiny singularity floated out, bringing with it 2 beers. The glass bottles orbited, occasionally clinking into one another as they floated across the room. Kaidan plucked them out of the air, and the blue light around him faded. He exhaled with a huff and slumped against Shepard, laughing. He wiped a trickle of blood from under his nose. "Worth it." He handed her a beer. "You've been holding out on me, Kaidan," Shepard said, taking the proffered drink. "Maybe." He smiled, opening his own beer with a twist of the cap. "Sorry the brew is so cheap. I got it on Earth, and things are a bit hectic down there. Now, hockey or curling?" "Your what hurts now?" Shepard asked, confused. "Hockey it is." Kaidan pressed a few buttons on the arm of his couch, and a screen appeared in front of them. On it, people skated around with sticks, presumably engaging in some sort of sporting event. "This is my favorite game. Obviously, no new ones are being played right now. End of the galaxy and everything." Shepard laughed, taking a swig of truly disgusting beer and little noticing. She raised her arm, which Kaidan had been leaning against, and he willingly slumped down so his head was in her lap. His legs were tucked up a bit awkwardly, but he didn't seem to notice. He trailed an arm off the couch, and she watched the light of the screen reflect off of his features. "I'm glad you're you, Kaidan," she said. "Getting all mushy on me?" he asked, his eyes flicking up to meet hers. "Not many people would be as understanding as you. I mean, I did sort of break your heart." "I broke yours too. We're even." He reached up his beer and clinked it against hers. "I spent a lot of time angry. I will admit that." He sighed, letting his arm drop again. "After a while, I realized that that was stupid. That the reason I was so pissed was because I couldn't have you anymore. Not just the sex. I mean, I wasn't in your life. You weren't mine. If I stayed mad, you never would be. When you shot Odina, so I didn't have to, I realized you were still you. I decided to get over myself and be your friend again." "Was it worth it?" Shepard asked. "I can be a tough person to get along with." "Well, you're bull-headed, a bit of an ass sometimes, not always considerate of other people's situations." Shepard raised her hand in mock striking distance. "But yeah," Kaidan laughed, "it's worth it." She felt his shoulders relax completely. His head still rested against her thigh. "All right, Kaidan," she smiled, settling herself back into the couch and taking another swig of the cheap beer. "Now, please explain this game to me. I have no idea what's going on." She was in the dark forest again. Black mist swirled around her. She looked instinctively for the child, but he wasn't there. No one was there. Not even the inky shadow people. She could move, slowly, so she began to walk. Then she heard something. Shepard Commander. "Legion?" She spun, trying to see him. There was nothing, no one. Shepard Commander, help us. "Legion, where are you? Help us, help us, help us." His cry became rhythmic. She spun in place, eyes straining to see through the dead trees all around. His voice pounded in her head like an attack. "Help us, help us, help us." She woke up with such a start that she knocked Kaidan off the couch. He hit the floor with a thud and a groggy, "Ouch!" "Oh, God, Kaidan, I'm sorry." She bent down to help him up. "Did we fall asleep?" Kaidan rubbed blurrily at his eyes. "Yeah," Shepard yawned, realizing that Legion's insistent voice in her dream was being echoed by the buzz of Kaidan's calm. "That's probably Garrus, wondering where I am." Shepard stood, tapping the answer button, as Kaidan slowly stretched and picked up their 2 empty beer bottles. The room was dark except for the hockey game still playing on the screen. Shepard blinked in the brightness of the vidcom, expecting to see her mate's annoyed face. "Liara? What is it? What's wrong?" Kaidan joined Shepard, concern shining in his sleepy eyes. Liara, too, looked as though she had been wakened by something. The Asari wasted no time. "Shepard, you had better get down here. I've made contact." Shepard and Kaidan both sprang up as one, almost colliding in their hurry to reach the door. Shepard was glad Kaidan's quarters were so close to Liara's. No long ride in the lift. Briefly, she wondered what Liara might think of Shepard still being in Kaidan's room, but she quickly dismissed the worry from her mind as she entered the Shadow Broker's office. Liara was wearing a flattering white nightgown and staring intently at one of her screens. Light reflected on the Asari's excited face. "Shepard, I've reached someone at the Illusive Man's base. You'll never believe who it is." Shepard moved so she could peer at the screen. Balak? Staring back at her were the 4 eyes of the last Batarian general. He looked worse for the wear. He stood hunched, hand clasped to his side, where blood seeped from a seemingly recent wound. Commander Shepard, I can truthfully say this is the last place I expected to see you. When the Asari informed me that you were not only alive, but aboard this ship, I was skeptical. Balak, are you all right? What's happening? Shepard pulled a chair over and sat, dark eyes lit with confusion and concern. No, things are not all right, the Batarian answered in his deep voice. He paused, glancing over his shoulder as though something might be coming for him. What the hell happened in the Sol system? We lost contact with you. None of the mass relays will reach you. We assumed the Reapers had set a trap and you were all dead. You have live relays? Shepard leaned forward, feeling Kaidan and Liara do the same behind her. Of course. Can I assume by that you don't? They all went inactive. I thought that was the case in the rest of the galaxy as well. We lost communication with the outside, which is obvious. We're trapped here. What's going on? What about the Reapers in Sol? Balak asked, shifting his weight uncomfortably and shooting a backward glance. Dead. Dead? Balak sounded skeptical. Yes. It took Shepard's weary mind a moment to catch up. They are not dead in the rest of the galaxy, are they? Her heart was suddenly beating very fast. No. Why would they? That doesn't matter. Balak winced and swayed. Shepard reached a hand forward, touching the screen with her fingertips. Every fiber of her wanted to be there. The fight was still going on. People needed her. Balak, you hold on. We'll figure this out. I need just as much information as you can give me. The Batarian swallowed, reaching a blood-stained hand toward the Illusive Man's chair. He pulled it over, sitting down and facing her with a determined expression. Right. What I know is this. You and the Victory Fleet went to Sol, as did most of the Reapers. Most, but certainly not all. There are Reapers on all of the homeworlds. Surkesh, Palaven. But we saved Palaven. The Krogan were forced to retreat. Balak exhaled wearily. The Turian homeworld is being overrun, just like the rest. Shepard swallowed a gigantic lump in her throat. She felt Liara's steadying hand on her shoulder, grateful for her friend. Shepard voiced her fears aloud. There isn't much military left to combat them. The Reapers planned this. When they saw they might lose the war, they drew us all to the Sol system and killed themselves, leaving the rest of their people alive to conquer the rest of the galaxy. Seems that way, Liara breathed. Balak, are you all right? Shepard's hand was on the screen again. Can you get out? Find someone else to talk to me here? Can you fortify the Illusive Man's base? Maybe. The Batarian grimaced, clutching his side. I had a full crew when I came here. Husks got my people. I managed to come out alive. He lifted his bloody hand so she could see. For the moment. Still, I don't think the Reapers are paying much close attention at this point. Strangely enough, they're having the most trouble with Omega. That blue bitch Aria won't quit. He smiled crookedly. Shepard smirked inwardly. She had known there was a reason she'd retaken the Omega station for the Crime Lord. Aria was, if possible, even fiercer than Shepard herself. All right, Balak. If you can, try to communicate with Jacob Taylor. Him or Kasumi Gato. If you can't find them, Liara piped up, a Drell called Farron may be able to help you. Right, Balak said. He met Shepard's eyes. Reaching up, he put his own fingertips against the screen, under hers. We thought you were all dead. There's been a lot of despair here. Not from me personally. His mouth quirked into a snarky smile. But knowing you're alive, that will go a long way. Just see if you can find my people. I'll come up with a plan. And Balak, stay alive. I'll try. He nodded, his hand falling from the screen, leaving a smear of blood. If you don't hear from me in 2 days, take that to mean I didn't follow your last order. All right, Shepard breathed, her voice shaking. Balak discontinued the call. Computer! Shepard shouted, as though the machine needed to be wakened. Yes, Commander, the synthetic voice chirped as cheery as ever. Wake the crew and have them assemble in the briefing room. This is an emergency, and this is not a drill.